Tomorrow's problems require a new set of skills. But which ones are the most important in the age of AI? I'm Amelia.
And I'm Mike. And welcome back to Human After All.
All right, Mike, let's get to it. You tell us, what are the most important skills that we need to be developing?
We've talked in our prior episodes, right, about how machines excel at automating, replicating specialization.
Mm-hmm.
And that anything that we can do and know how to do, machines will do it better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that specialization might be overrated, and that expertise itself might be overrated.
I mean, some might argue that it's always been overrated. Right?
Well, I think you're onto something because Amelia, one of the things that our research is beginning to turn up in spades is this recognition that as machines excel at depth, our new human superpower is going to be breadth.
Developing wings?
Well, no. I mean, we can do that. We can do that too.
Okay.
But going wide as opposed to going deep. Having a variety of perspectives rather than world-class knowledge of any. I like to say being dot connectors as opposed to being dot perfectors.
Okay, that makes sense.
Now, that kind of begs the question, how do you do that, right? How do you broaden out? Well, I think it turns out that there are some very learnable skills, some pro tips to becoming what people call a polymath.
So nerd alert, tell me, Mike, what is a polymath?
What is a polymath? So a polymath, and this is not a new term. It's about as old school as it gets. It's somebody who doesn't just understand multiple disciplines, but actively spends time working to integrate concepts between and betwixt.
Okay.
Leonardo da Vinci was the ultimate sort of father of polymathy. Mm-hmm. When he wasn't studying physics, he's studying biology. When he's not looking at biology, he's doing painting and sculpting and you name it. And there's this great quote about him. It said, Da Vinci believed that you could only properly understand a problem or an opportunity if you saw it from three completely different sides. And so this idea of intentional diversity of perspective as feature, not jack of all trades bug, it's not a new concept, but I think it matters extra in an age where AI is coming for
the repeatable tasks. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I am no Leonardo da Vinci, but I follow you on this idea of multiple different disciplines or the kind of different parts of our background. So the fact that I happen to have studied theology and have a discipline of strategy and design, those are not two things you often put together in the same sentence. And
you don't say.
And you do tend to see the world a little bit differently than your classic sort of MBA student might.
Well, how did that show up in your career? Like any examples of where that mashup paid dividends?
It's in those unexpected places where I'll be sitting with an executive or someone who's trying to solve some riddle about their own life or their next step in a job, and these phrases will just come to me. And it's I had said to someone the other day, it's something like, well, you have to walk through their door and come out your own. And they looked at me like they had never heard that before. And I realized that's because that's St. Ignatius of Loyola, right? I learned that as part of my theology training, that you make that opportunity what, it presents to you however it's going to come. It may not be the exact same title in the exact same box, but you get to walk through that and then walk out of it having made it your own.
Right. That's the mojo that I think humanity is going to need more of in the next 10, 20, 50 years, right? Because machine learning algos haven't likely been sufficiently trained on that magical mashup of theology and strategy yet. Right. And so that's what makes that.
Although it might be coming for me.
It might be coming. Now that you've shared it on this pod. The question that I tend to get, and I'm sure you do too, is, okay, got it. Breadth, great. Where do I get started?
Right. I mean, they don't teach that in schools.
No. I mean, schools tend to be all about siloed,
functional knowledge.
50 minutes in science, 50 minutes in English, and never the twain shall meet.
Right.
Happily, I think this polymathy can be nurtured. It's not like, you're born with it or you're not. One step you can take is to just be curious, to take a mindset every darn day of being a learn-it-all rather than a know-it-all. Of saying, okay, I want to know how that works. And I would argue, Amelia, this might be a little spicy, but I would say you want to be more than curious. You want to be intellectually promiscuous.
Okay.
AKA snuggle with as many different ideas from as many different disciplines as you get your hands on.
Right.
Because if every connection you make in life is back to that one time at band camp, it gets old.
Right.
But if you're the font of person who's referencing that one time cultivating starfruit in Peru, right? Okay, now you're cooking. And then you add in that time doing computer science. Then you add in that time doing high frequency trading. Then it's like, oh, okay, this one's cooking with gas.
So it's the more different types of experiences, the more different ways in which you can experience the world that will be a uniquely kind of human skill that we should be fostering.
I think so. I mean, the number of connections goes up quadratically with the number of disciplines we study, which is a geeky way to say the more the merrier.
Okay. But so I follow you on Get Curious. I love that. But then I also think about this isn't just about curiosity and dabbling. I feel like there's something about training the brain and like the muscle development that it takes to learn a new skill or to develop a new habit. And so for me, it reminds me of, I haven't told you this yet, but I took up a new hobby this winter. I felt like I needed something that would just kind of get me out of the house, less chilling on the couch and more sort of being out there in the world. And I decided I wanted something with that sort of mind-body connection. So I took my first ever ballroom dancing class.
What?
Yes. And
when? Recently?
Yes, it was very recent. And what was fun about it was I literally didn't even know what shoes I was supposed to wear. I brought 3 options, right? It's like, what do people wear to ballroom dancing? And I liked that it was something very new to me and that I was not good at it. And you get to a certain point in your career, in your life, where you feel like we should only be doing those things that we're good at.
Right.
And trying something that I knew I was not good at, like that in and of itself felt like an experience worth having.
What you've got me thinking here is using that feeling of discomfort as the radar for pursuits worth engaging in, right? Because I think, there's that line that we sometimes use here at Deloitte, right? Embrace the mess to get to yes.
Right.
And I think if something feels messy and a bit unstable, that's probably a green light as opposed to a red. It turns out that about 5 hours a week of studying something out of your comfort zone is just about perfect.
Okay.
Because if you just dabble, if it's just a quick scroll and whatever, then you're...
I'm not going to learn ballroom dancing just like watching videos or scrolling.
No, that's how I'm learning ballroom.
Okay, got it.
But you're doing it the right way because it's sustained effort, not dropping everybody you've been,
right?
But adding a new piece of who you're becoming.
Oh, I like that. That was deep.
That
was good.
You got it right. But that's how you build that cognitive CrossFit.
Okay.
Right. That's how you bring that muscle confusion that weight training folks know is so good, I think, to your noggin.
Okay. So I love this. So there's been a whole conversation about what are the skills that you or I can be developing to, thrive in the age of AI. I guess I'm really curious from our audience's perspective, what skills are you cultivating and what muscles are you strengthening as a part of this whole interaction with the world of AI?
Look forward to your thoughts. And this has been Human After All.